Curse this dry air handling all my equipment with oily hands. I hate it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Freak Show. I'm your host, Sinder. We got some pretty big news as far as, not just more tards being tards. We have plenty of that, don't worry. We have big news as in there have been arrests. Lack thereof, unfortunately, too. But at this point, I'll take what I can get, and hopefully you will too, so stay tuned. Or I have started putting chapter markers in the description below. You can look there if you want to skip ahead to the gritty stuff, but I assure you, you'll enjoy the ride. I wanted to start with this little fun meme. Is not this the most representative thing of just leftists and leftist protesters right now?
That's right! You and me! Right now! We're having it out! Let's go! Come on! Come on!
Good old South Park. Indeed, very accurate. Hopefully that made you laugh. It made me laugh. Let's get into the first big news. Don Lemon is under arrest. You heard that right. Even better, Lemon was indicted by a grand jury, not just arrested. So this is big. This is big. Let's watch the news clip.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now.
In case you forgot what happened, basically, Don Lemon, quote-unquote, was just recording a protest that interrupted church service, terrorized the families there, just generally being an absolute menace, threatening children, making them cry, threatening families. You can even see, these protesters crowding the stairs, trying to separate some kids from their parents. It's insane. And Don Lemon at the end was just like, this is the point of protesting, to make people uncomfortable. Pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure this is the kind of tactic that makes people hate you. Anyway, let's continue.
Now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to...
Oh my god, I'm shocked. A local Minnesota judge didn't want to arrest a leftist agitator?
A judge above him, he didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day, so there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today, but obviously this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality.
School board member. What did I say a couple videos back? What do I say a lot, actually? Mass firings now. Mass firings, mass reform, to education.
/ agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as DeWoke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here.
Since seeing this, I've seen some more tidbits floating around on X. I've heard that he was supposed to be hosting an awards show of some sort, and they got him either before or after, potentially even during, I don't know. 90% sure the grand jury has been confirmed. It sounds like Nick Sortor is... What a meme. What a meme, indeed. Anyway, definitely by the time I upload this video, there's likely going to be more. We might even see him in court by now, so keep your eye out on X, keep your eye out on any sort of news that isn't CNN. And, hopefully we see something cool. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, how is that going? Well, while ICE arrests are still happening, very much so, and we're going to get into that at the end, I'll show you the numbers. Minnesota National Guard troops retreat in their trucks as anti-ICE activists march past the barricades outside Minneapolis ICE facility. So these aren't even the sorts, allegedly, because take this with a grain of salt, these aren't even the sorts that are actually, you know, getting violent. These aren't the ones that are actually looting the federal vehicles. These aren't even the guys that are ramming their vehicles into ICE agents. These are just a bunch of tards marching. And you can't even stop that. These National Guards people, just like local police are stepping up, but still, National Guard troops in Minnesota, they have been absolutely cucked thanks to walls, becoming a pattern, really. And, yeah, by the way, when National Guard was put on the ground, they brought donuts to the rioters. That Insurrection Act sure does sound nice about now, doesn't it? And if you think this is just limited to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you're wondering about how some of the other cities are doing, don't worry, we're getting there. Seattle? Didn't I just say that Seattle is always a shithole? Arguably like the worst city on the West Coast. And that's really hard, considering Portland exists. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson makes clear that her city doesn't need signal chats. Instead, she's going to mobilize the actual police force to do what signal networks do in Minneapolis. These are her own words. She will even have the SPD relay intel gathered on federal agents to community partners and ban usage of city property by agents. Katie is a former professional protester. She's manipulating her office as mayor of one of the most powerful cities in the country. That's debatable. She's using that city to aid and abet domestic terrorists today and resist the federal government. How is this not insurrection? First of all, the Karenocracy needs to end. Oh my god, these women are awful. And I'm including Walls in there. That is not a real man. That is a freaking eunuch. Anyway, this is true. Katie is a fucking socialist. All our attention was on Mamdani. And he's bad enough, because it's New York City, obviously, right? That's a much bigger deal than Seattle, contrary to what Cam just said here. Not to say that any American city should be facing this, but our eyes are on New York City, and then this bitch slipped in like a little snake, little communist snake, and she's a socialist who's never had a real job in her life. She's been on welfare forever. She was a professional protester, basically, and just basically, I don't know, maybe she slept her way up the ranks, Kamala Harris. Maybe she just was a DEI hire, also Kamala Harris. Either way, she is fucking insufferable, and how is this not insurrection? Banning federal agents from city property. Seattle's part of America, bitch. What the fuck? American authority can enforce the law on American property. That's you. That's your city. Turning the police force against the federal agents, relaying intel gathered on them to community partners. Like fucking rioters? Like the little Antifa generals? Like that Kyle Wagner faggot? Like all the people that just got exposed on the Stop ICE website? Oh, we're getting into that in a minute. That's going great, don't worry. Arrest this bitch! Oh my god. At least Mamdani's smart enough to shut his trap when he needs to. This bitch can just get arrested. Yeah, imagine being so retarded that you protest against safer streets and cities. Leftists in a nutshell, suicidal empathy. As for our story on the Stop ICE website and the signal chats and the big expose that we covered with Cam Higbee, right? Data Republican gives us an update. The largest ICE license plate tracker has been compromised. If you visit the Stop ICE license plate tracker, you will notice all their plates have been overwritten with the following image. Hello, stopice.net. All your logins, locations, passwords, and phone numbers have been given to the FBI and ICE. Love it. And unfortunately, it's already been restored, but as you can see from the screenshot here. Awesome. The owner of the site is Sherman Austin of Long Beach, California. Of course it's fucking California. As infuriating as all this is, remember. Nick Shirley exposing the Somali fraud got an entire federal investigation going in Minneapolis. Ilhan Omar Tim Walz, a standing governor, being questioned, being investigated themselves. Just imagine what Cam Higbee could do with this. Just imagine what could stem from this. Hopefully, at this point, honestly, I don't care if it's a Republican, and I don't care if it's a leftist. It'd be much better if it was a leftist. And I wouldn't mind a rhino. I wouldn't mind even Trump at this point. You think I'm gonna be mad about J.D. Vance presidency? At this point, I want to see a politician behind bars. I really do. You know that drunk raccoon meme? My spirit animal is a drunk raccoon that just wants to fuck shit up. That's me. That is my attitude toward all politicians at this point. Fuck all of you. As Data Republican here says, you can follow Astrars and Bitch and Need Soap. Okay, those are quite some names. This guy right here, basically. He's the main guy giving us updates. Including this. We were not kidding. We sent your names, logins, passwords, and locations to a bunch of government agencies. I hate the feds, but I hate these guys just a bit more. So, you know what? As they say, the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. Fuck these guys. Do your job, dude. Let's get this going. Let's get some arrests going. Let's get people behind bars. I want to see it. You know who else was arrested? Aside from Don Lemon? You might have seen this already, but it's still funny news, so I'm just going to share it. Breaking. Nasra Ahmed, the bananas and rice Somali, has been arrested by DHS at the direction of Pam Bondi for obstructing ICE operations. She lied about being brutalized by ICE, in case you didn't know, and then said, being Somali is not just bananas and rice. It's kind of like, bananas and rice. That 67 IQ really shining through, huh? Oh boy. Okay, well, I'm going to get canceled for that, and my channel's barely even started. Wow. Guys, it's like the bottom of the barrel, but Pam Bondi did make an arrest. She made an arrest. And by the way, this lady who went on stage and whined and basically just lied through her teeth, through her crooked, weird, yellow teeth, about how ICE brutalized her and called her slurs, like the reverse Jussie Smollett we heard just a couple days ago. They really want us to believe these stories. I just don't. And even if even if something did happen, one of them dropped a slur, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm more concerned about getting fucks like this in jail, or even out of the country, than I am about racial slurs. Racist. I don't like hearing slurs thrown around. White, black, Asian, any. I don't like hearing them. We're a civil society. We are a civil society, and it sucks to hear those words. But at this point, we have more important things going on, okay? And that's also kind of what happens. Not to pin blame on an entire community, but that's also what happens when so many people, their main defense against any sort of criticism, much like Ilhan Omar and much like these fucks themselves, is your ethnic identity. But anyway, the point I was getting at is you can see the little bandage here, right? Where's the wound? I don't see a wound. Granted, it's hard to tell because of the dish rag on her head, but I don't see a wound, I'm just saying. Lies. You sit on a throne of lies. Am I shocked that this girl, this sweet bananas and rice Somali girl, got arrested? No. This is leftism. This is what leftists do. When their arguments fail, they resort to violence. Always. Doesn't matter if it's Renee Good. Doesn't matter if it's Alex Preddy. Doesn't matter if it's George Floyd. Doesn't matter if it's anybody. Even if the other party does bear some of the fault. Just being able to say, okay, I believe that they are at fault, but this guy did wrong too. Just that can send them into a rage. And when they can't talk their way out of a situation, they act. Left doesn't talk, they act. Like this. I want to show you this. This is a pro-life activist and a pro-choice lady. Random pro-choice lady on the street. What happens when pro-choice ladies... I'm pro-choice, by the way, to a rational degree. These people are probably insane about it. What does she do when her argument starts to fail?
You just don't understand the magnitude of having a child. I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused. That's not the point. What I'm saying
is that's correct. Yeah, she couldn't argue, so she started swinging. Like, what the fuck? Is it because it's two women, no one cares? Is it because it's a leftist hitting a right-winger, no one cares? The left, well, either way, the left does not seem to care about this. They seem to laugh at it, quite contrarily. This one was even worse. I'm not going to play it because I don't think I can listen to this again. It's generally disgusting. A peaceful pro-life protester, she was just holding a sign. And this girl, and her psychopathic mom, I'm guessing, Either way, an older lady in this, they get in her face and say, I wish you would get raped. She's so pretty, let her get raped. This is the party of pro-women. This is the party of #MeToo. This is a party of, there's a rape epidemic in America, right? Then they say this shit as soon as you go against the grain. What the fuck? Again, I'm genuinely pro-choice. I would never listen to a pro-life activist, even ones like that are kind of crazy, like Michael Knowles and stuff. I would never listen to a pro-life activist and just say, you ought to be raped. I would never just start swinging. Who are these gremlins? And where are the people? Where are the rational, the level-headed, the moderate left? What happened to them? People try to point to Destiny. Destiny said he wants the genocide of all conservatives. Destiny's not a moderate. Just because he doesn't like Hassan Piker doesn't make him a moderate. Everyone hates Hassan. Probably where half this shit is coming from. People like him. Denims. Oh my god. The Rachel Madhouse of the mainstream media. Just, where is the moderate left? The most moderate liberal I can think of today, just off the top of my head, would probably be like Bill Maher. Credit where credit's due. I've heard a lot of interesting conversations from him. But he's like the exception to the rule. Cenk kind of cosplays as a moderate every once in a while, so does Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, sort of, better than most. I think the most moderate libs I can think of are Bill Maher, followed by Piers Morgan. Cenk kind of cosplays the moderate every once in a while, so does Anna Kasparian. They still have a lot of policies I'm like, okay, that's crazy, I see where Hassan gets it, right? They're like the exceptions to the rule, is my point. The rest are the Don Lemons. The rest are the Hassan Pikers. The rest are the Destinies. They're fucking crazy. And they encourage shit like this. They encourage just being, if not violent, then just being disgusting people, not having conversations. They will defend themselves by saying, well, they're the disgusting person because they hold this opinion. And they didn't realize how much that radicalizes people. How do you think Nick Fuentes came to be, right? But how has he reached this level of mainstream attention? It's because so many people are fed up with the race relations and how the left perpetuates them, how the left presents them, how the left handles these things, which is basically just fuck white people, which is basically just fuck the Jews, blame everything on the Jews, which is basically just if a black person kills an Asian woman on the subway, that's white supremacy somehow. It doesn't make sense anymore. The left is fucking insane. And combined with the censorship, combined with that sort of Voldemort, don't say his name attitude, that's how these more radical people fester. Okay, let's move on. I'm rambling too much. Oh, here's someone to make you laugh. One of the organizers of the church riot, Nikema Levy Armstrong. We had handcuffs on. As an African American studies expert, automatic L. That goes in the actually tarded tier. More theory bullshit, diagnosing things that don't need to be diagnosed. You know the tier list, guys. This goes right at the bottom. It was the closest I was to slavery. What a retard.
We had belly chains around our waists, and we had handcuffs with bars in the middle. As someone who majored in African American studies, I can tell you that that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life. Being shackled.
Because you were acting like a fucking retard and harassing other people. Accountability 0. Thinks they know everything. Thinks they're entitled to everything. Oh boy. Another one. We're gonna have a discussion about this post I found. It's just a Reddit. I could start covering Reddit posts, really, but oh my god. The brain cells I would lose to that website, waking up every morning to 50 posts that are based on just basically nothing, that are based on, like, literally just made up. Like, literally just some retard put some fake statistics, or it's those kinds of people just posting so much bullshit. It would take decades to filter through all of it. But you know what? This one stood out to me. And I saw a post of it on X. Posted by Redditards. If we deported MAGA men aged 17 to 50 and replaced them with immigrants, the violent crime rate would drop 70 to 80%. Crimes against women and children would be almost 0. Wow. First of all, I can cover how political violence studies are absolute bullshit. I can cover how the major studies like The Economist and stuff, how a lot of them are conducted by liberal captured, leftist captured, clearly biased university professors, including The Economist. The professor that did that one lives in Portland, immediate red flag, and self-admitted that he's aligned with Antifa, domestic terror group. So you support a domestic terror group, and your job is documenting political terrorism properly. Wow. That study's not going to be a load of horse shit. That's just the most obvious connections to make. These blue cities. New York City just let out over 7,000 criminals. Murderers, rapists, child offenders. So many of them. The murder in Charlottesville, Irina Zuritsky, 14-time offender. Had several violent altercations, was living on the streets because his family was presumably scared of him, as a lot of these people are. He should have been in jail, he wasn't. I can list you someone who had over 70 offenses. I can list you someone who had over 100 offenses. Homeless guy. Repeatedly assaulted, especially women, that were coming off the subway. I can list you so many Americans, beyond Irina Zuritsky, that died last year because of people who should have been in jail and were let out. And that happens every single day. Right? We just read about it. Don Lemon helped incite this church riot. Local judges weren't going to prosecute him. All the Portland protesters, as soon as they get arrested, they're let out. My point is, these cities don't document normal violence properly. How do we expect them to properly document political violence? They don't believe you can be racist, right? Because if it's a white guy attacking a black guy or an Asian guy or a Mexican guy, everybody assumes it's a hate crime, even if the motive was clearly not racially motivated, right? Everybody considers that a hate crime, white on person of color violence, they lump it in with right-wing violence. That happens all the time. But when it comes to black supremacists doing terrorism, when it comes to black people murdering white people, when it comes to black people murdering Asian people, as we discussed, and Mexican people, never considered left-wing violence. And there's a lot of little loopholes like that happen. So of course, if nothing else, the right-wing areas, the right-wing violence is going to look higher because their cities are the ones that actually document the violence. They're the ones that are actually noting, hey, this was politically motivated. These left-wing cities couldn't fucking care. They run cover for their guys constantly, as they're doing in Minneapolis, as we just saw them doing in Seattle. So that's the first red flag of this post. MAGA men, quote-unquote. What study are you pulling that from? Replace them with immigrants. Next red flag. Legal immigrants have a very low crime rate. Now, it depends on what you consider immigrants here. Because are we lumping illegal immigrants in with them? Are we lumping refugees in with them? Refugees are a big one. Have you seen the UK lately? It ain't pretty. This is a tactic the left does all the time. It's so annoying. When we say illegal immigrants, when we're talking about illegal immigrants, with anything, they immediately lump legal immigrants into the picture to try to warp the image, okay? Legal immigrants do have a low crime rate. You worked hard to get here, you're unlikely to cause a lot of problems, I would imagine. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, yeah, you did the work to get here legally. You're likely not here to cause havoc. Illegal immigrants is a whole new story. And it's not just the ones that are documented illegal immigrants, right? Very, very few of these immigrants are in cities. In the states where illegal immigration is the worst. Illinois, aka Chicago, Minneapolis, Minnesota, New York City. I think Columbus might be one of those places. I'm not 100% sure on that. California is a major one. Some bits and pieces of Texas, I think. Portland, Seattle, right? Pretty much the entire West Coast. These places basically rely on the honesty policy. At least California, at least Illinois, and I think New York City too. In at least those states, which are major hotspots for illegal immigrants, it's illegal to question someone's immigration status if you're an officer or a government worker. And I remember when I was getting my driver's license or something else, I was registering to vote at the DMV in California. And pretty much the only check that I was a legal citizen, I have proof of address, which is A, easy to get, and A, easy to fake, especially in these states that have been caught handing out driver's licenses, CDLs, and other proofs of residency to illegal immigrants. Pretty much the only safeguard apart from that was a question on their little kiosk. Are you a legal citizen? It'd be impossible for somebody to not be a legal citizen and click yes, right? That'd be impossible. No one would do that. That's so morally bankrupt. Only it happens all the time. There are very few people who are tarded enough to actually admit to anybody, yeah, I'm an illegal immigrant. Which, to be fair, in these states, They know there's no consequences, so maybe they're not tarded, maybe they're just trolling at this point. God only knows. When your entire state's method of telling who's an illegal immigrant is basically the honesty policy and 2 proofs of address that may not even apply in all states, that's just California, but are so easy to get because of the lax policies, because it's illegal to ask somebody's immigration status, because they're constantly fighting ICE, because they're constantly not reporting who's an illegal migrant, they're not handing that intelligence over to DHS, because local judges run cover for them when they do commit crime, like in Minneapolis. Put 2 and 2 together. Illegal immigrants get lumped in with legal immigrants, makes their rates look a little better. In combination with the soft on crime policies, in combination with everything I just listed, it fucking cooks the books. And this is why I don't fucking trust studies. This is why I don't trust statistics anymore. Most of it is fucking fake and gay. And biased. Doesn't matter if it's coming from the government, doesn't matter if it's coming from a hospital, doesn't matter if it's coming from the Bureau of Statistics. I don't give a fuck who it's coming from. Most of it's going to be fake and gay. At this point, I'm more about using common sense. You already have the nerve to enter the country illegally. You're likely not here for great purposes. I don't even know where to begin to tell you the amount of innocent women that have been murdered, that have been manslaughtered in DUI crashes mostly, because of illegal immigrants. And guess what? Something tells me that these states, these cities, they're not reporting it. That's why I don't trust studies. Crimes against women and children would be almost 0. Yeah, bullshit. Especially because women aren't reporting their crimes because they've been indoctrinated, apparently. Remember that Nation report? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wow, we stopped counting the crimes, especially for this certain demographic, and now not only has the crime rate gone down, but the crime rate for that demographic is exponentially low. Wow. Wonder how that happened. Fake and gay. All of it is fake and gay. But don't let that get you down. ICE has deported 622,000 illegal aliens since just January 20th. Criminal illegal aliens with convictions for rape, murder, drug trafficking, sex abuse, and more. The ICE air flights out of Hanscom are saving American lives, and they must continue. Your agents are the criminals. Copart or retard. No one believes this produced the numbers. I can understand taking it with a grain of salt. Maybe they are inflating the numbers to make them look better. But even if they're inflated or not, pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Yes. Pump it up. Ramp it up. Most people don't give a fuck at this point. They want more. They want more. Some of them may be like, well, maybe I should be more, maybe they should be gentler, maybe they should try more humane. We want them to be deported, just be nicer about it. Granted, give them a little pat on the head as you throw them in the vehicle and get them out of the country. I don't care. Just get them out of the country, period. To leave you off, I have one more for you. Americans want to be as happy as the residents of Martha's Vineyard were when they deported all their illegal immigrants. True. Rules for thee, not for me. Always the case, isn't it? Oh, that's enough of my ranting. That's all I got for today. Hopefully you found this interesting. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? What do you make of any of this news? Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you, hopefully, in another video. My friends, my spectators, thank you for watching, and farewell.